Good evening, Waterford girls. Do we have excitement in the room? We should be. We have a phenomenal candidate for President of the United States. Can I hear it for her? And I have the privilege and honor, I didn't expect it, but that wonderful AFL-CIO slid me on that slate. So I get to be a delegate. So when you guys watch the convention, look for me going, Waterford Girls, go! Yeah! But I'm just going to say a couple words before we do a very, very special presentation. What happened in the Democratic primary for Waterford was just short of phenomenal. Can we give it to those hard-working candidates from Waterford? Do you know that Waterford has an opportunity at this time to completely control the township board, starting with the township supervisor, the township clerk, and the township trustees? Can we give it to them? Oh, don't forget, and that phenomenal, wonderful Democratic state representative. Yeah, that's it. But here's my little preview, and I think you've heard it before, there have been a Democratic events, the picnic, etc. Now is the time to buckle down. We've been watching the guy that's been Mar-a-Lago with the orange hair, and he hasn't been doing anything. Have you noticed that? He hasn't been doing anything but playing golf in Mar-a-Lago. Sounds familiar, right? Kind of like our township board. Haven't been doing anything, just sitting back and watching us work. They think we're going to sit on our laurels, and we're not going to get across that finish line. But I've got news for them. We are all going to cross that finish line. Aren't we trustees? Are we going to do it, sir? Are we going to do it, township supervisor? And my city is Pontiac, where I live when I have Southern Waterford precincts 14 to 21. So if you're in precincts 14 through 21, can you kind of like raise your hand so I can see you in the house? Okay. All right, don't worry, precincts 1 through 13, I still got you, okay? I'm sorry that you got that other guy, okay? But I have you, and anytime you need our help, please reach out to me, okay? I will help you. But we need to get out there, we need to knock on doors, not once, not half a time, but we need to be out there every single day until November 5th. Okay? Are y'all with me? Because I'm going to be out there, and so is campuses from Pontiac, and Auburn Hills, and Rochester Hills, okay? Because it's just that important. If you can't knock on doors, you can make a donation to the Waterford Democratic Club and help these fine candidates get across the board. If you can't make a donation, you can make a phone call. Come together at the Waterford Democratic Club and make phone calls for these candidates. But by all means, between now and November 5th, you must help us get out the vote. We must get the message out to the Democrats that this is a winnable election across the board, from the President of the United States to the school board. We can do this. Are you with me? Yeah. I can't hear you. Are you with me? Yeah. We gotta win in November. Yeah. That's a delay. Don't say that. But at this moment, we're going to do a presentation, right? Yes. You want to come up and do the presentation, and we'll just hold. Oh, no, this. Come on, you can do this. Give it to them. Let's have the biggest smoke here for the trustees. Yeah, there you go, you have to do this part.
I've never been a teacher, but I can talk.
Boy, you should talk.
This award is for Jan. This is an award for the President of the United States for making a difference in our community.
Yeah.
This is a Lifetime Achievement Award.
This is incredible.
And you have this acknowledgement. You have a coin from the President and a letter.
Wow.
For the difference that you make.
Isn't this
The
incredible?
Waterford Cultural Council, we submit different names, and so far, I've been very lucky. Barb and Larry got it last year. We have another person in this club's gonna get it next month, and you this month, because of the things that you do to make a difference.
Absolutely.
And this is why Waterford has a special place in my heart, because if we come out and do things, we can make a difference. And it's all of us. It's not one of us, it's all of us.
All of us together.
So thank you for your hard work. Thank you for working for people in many different ways. There's so many organizations. Teresa Flynn was giving me 25 different lists, and I said, forget it, Teresa, I didn't write it down. But I wanted Brenda to be the key persons, Brenda and Randy, because they are a team. I wanted them to acknowledge you in this way because of your hard work. And that's why Rick came, because he doesn't usually come to the meetings, but he's here today because he loves us.
Come on here, Rick. Rick. We can go to him. Yeah, we can go to him. There we go. I love it. This is a story.
So Jan, would you like to say something about what you've done?
Well, I started out in political work back in the second Obama campaign. And I've had the opportunity to work on some great campaigns with some wonderful people. And I am very, very, very fortunate to be part of the Waterford Democratic Club and enjoy all of you so very much. And I feel passionately that what we're doing is making a positive difference in Waterford and hopefully the state of Michigan.
It is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I leave the floor, I do have to say a special thank you to someone, because last month, we received a message that my baby sister was on life support and she wasn't going to survive past July 3rd, so we shot down and chatted and good to see her. And I called someone and I said, look, I can't get out there and knock on doors because I got to be with my sister. I got to take care of my sister, every day. It was like, she's not going to make it, she's not going to make it. Well, this individual said, I will be your legs. I will knock on your doors. I will do everything I can to help you because you're too important to what we're doing in Lance, what we're going to accomplish in Lance. And I just want to thank, in front of everybody, Robin McGregor, for just being a true Democrat. Thank you.
Now this is a team, we gotta do this as a team.
We're a team.
Sorry. I'm gonna go through a little bit of a report, very short, because we have 3 great speakers and we also have somebody else here today that's going to judge. We are going to be doing, at the end of the meeting, we're going to be doing nominations of the club as the people that have made it through the primary. Once we do that, OCDP is going to also endorse us. There is a website, it's called voters.org. This is going to be a platform that everybody can go to.
MI voters.
I'm sorry?
MI voters.
MI voters. Jessica's busy over last night. Brenda was nominated and so were county commissioners in Waterford. We have the scores. Who has not seen the numbers?
From the election.
Well, Mary Craig took Mr. Barbarata by 1,200 votes. Kim Markey only got 20 on Jonathan. Let me remind you, she's in front of everybody, she does all the reports. She does a lot of things in our township, so Jonathan, you did a good job. We had 5 candidates. It was John Paul, Matt, Joe Williams, and myself, and Sam James did not make it through the primary. But he is not giving up. Gary Wall called him and asked him before the primary to come meet with him. I told him he needs to be involved. He's an Oakland County Sheriff. He's a young man who's 27, and I need younger people to see how important it is to make a difference, and especially as a peace officer. I know it's called police, but when I grew up, they were the peace officer. They kept the peace, and they made the difference in your community. They always talked to people, they had a conversation, they wanted to make a difference. So that's where we hope we can get to again. If you have garbage pickup and you have recycling, I need you to call them and ask for a refund for your recycling. The township told us that they were going to do this, and they chose who we were going to have. Priority took over. My recycling is picked up once in 6 weeks. We need people to call them because they said, oh, everybody's happy. I was out knocking doors all week long. People are not happy. We need them to be accountable for what their decisions are. I asked them, like I would ask a 5-year-old, I said, now that we've done this, what lessons have we learned? And Mary was sitting next to me, and I was asked why I was so angry. I just asked, what lessons have we learned? We never got an answer. So I don't want our township to ever be in this situation again. There's consortiums like Troy that are working with other networks. They don't have these issues. So as Waterford, we need to make sure we take care of things. Jan, I'm going to pass it on. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt, I'm passing it on to you. No problem.
Well, thanks to everybody, and I apologize, I couldn't be at the last meeting. I had a funeral of a really close friend, and I was helping the family with some of the details. I'm excited to see everybody. I see some new faces that I haven't seen before. If I get a chance to meet you. I have some of my literature here, and I guess we're exchanging signs outside sometime. A few things in the township. I've been knocking doors and working with some of the other candidates, and I'm excited to see the numbers that we had. The majority of the people that ran on our side beat our previous supervisor. If you hadn't noticed, if you compare the votes, our trustees pretty much all beat Gary Wall. And even though that's divided into a larger number of people, you would think that he would have had a larger majority, being that he was previously the supervisor and now just running the trustee. So I'm really excited about what happened with it's great. I have to keep this time a big one. And I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing in the future, and we got to keep our hopes up. I'm really excited about being campaign at the top, the presidential and all the new excitement. It's going to bring a lot of people our way. And so let's plan ahead, get things ready to go, and get feet on the ground. Appreciate it.
Right. I'm getting the secretary's report. So, for those of you that were not at the Pasta Palooza on June 12th, we met at the warming house. We were jammed to the gills. Well, of course, it was very hot that day, so we all wanted to be inside, but there was air conditioning. So we were elbow to elbow, but it was a great meeting. The subject of it was the OCC campus and Waterford Township's purchase of part of that campus. Pam Jackson, chair of the Oakland County Community College Board of Trustees, spoke, and Chris Ward, Oakland County Parks Director, spoke, and they gave great comments on the future of the campus, the potential of the campus, and the absolute urgency of Waterford supporting the bond proposal because it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Waterford to take over a fabulous piece of property for the benefit of the entire township. So, they were very strongly in support of the upcoming bond issue. They said it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Okay, we had, and then on July 13th, we met at Waterford Oaks for the Meet the Candidates gathering, and we met in the large gazebo, which was fabulous. Thank you very much to Oakland for Waterford Oaks for getting us the large gazebo through a snafu. Thank you. But we had over 50 people there. We had virtually all the candidates that were eligible to be on the ballot for Waterford that were there. Everyone had an opportunity to speak, and Sandra Rao, there was great food. Thank you very much, Robin and Barb, for the food. It was a fabulous time, totally fabulous. We'll do it again at the next opportunity, the next election. So we're going to do this again and again and again. Now, at the Harris Walls rally on August 7th, Barb Spees and myself and two other people who shall remain nameless for the moment were present. And we had an opportunity, along with 14,999 other people, to witness the Harris Walls rally in a hangar at the airport. And it was the most invigorating, enthusiastic, deafening rally I have ever been to. I'm not doing it again. I'm a little old for that. We were on our feet for 8 straight hours, but it was wonderful. And the enthusiasm, the articulate delivery, we had great candidates at the top of the slate. Absolutely fabulous. But on that point, when we got through security, one of our members, Stephen Watkins, Waterford, Michigan, was the center of attention. He was utterly and totally the center of attention, to the point that he was in national coverage. Our joyous warrior.
You gotta come and get your pictures.
This is yours, Steve. Our joyous warrior.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
You cannot believe the amount of
Almost done.
Oh, we're not done, Steve. This is press coverage, Oakland Press, Washington Post, and some additional pictures.
You even made the Washington Post.
You made the Washington Post.
And they asked me, well, why are you here for one thing? I said, I'm here because our country is going finally in the right direction. And not to take anything away, but I told a lot of the interviewers that it was time that we change direction. Our country's been run by old white men for way too long. Sorry, you old white men. It's time for a younger generation to realize it's their time to run this country. It's time for new ideas, fresh ideas. And I think when we get the young people involved, there's no stopping us.
15-minute recess. The
Are you
church.
gonna do this report first?
Oh, sorry about that, dear. Treasurer's report, sorry.
Big of you.
This is the fun one.
It is on. Okay. My lovely notes closed because of course technology.
You're supposed to be younger than me. So you should.
I can't make it work all the time, but I know how to get to make it. Okay, so as per usual, our administration account is hanging on to $398.92. The organization account is holding on to $75.33, almost have to zero there. The independent pact, this is the fun one, and Madam Chair, do I get to talk about what we want to do with it maybe?
Not until after the candidates.
Just in generalities.
Generalities, okay. So non-generality, we are at $4,453.27, which is an incredible amount of funds, and I'm so proud of us. But I would love to see a little bit more. The chair is asking me to hold my tongue a little bit, but it's really exciting what we're working on. And if we could have about $5,500 total, I think it would be absolutely amazing. But I will defer to the chair on anything else. So just keep that number in your head, talking to friends, talking to neighbors. 5,500 would be amazing for this township. Does anyone have any questions on where our funds are?
Yeah, what's that letter for?
Can't do it.
You'll be able to do it on Sunday when I'm not there.
Go to
Talk
the
about
cloud.
the district, please.
Oh, kind of talking about it. So our state representative has very generously agreed to fund a slate card for Waterford Township.
Well, it says all the way through, I thought, right, Brenda? All the way from the top to the ticket down.
We haven't worked on the content, but thank you very much, Brenda, for the donation. We appreciate that.
Always the best for winners.
So while the e-board is still kind of figuring out the slate card versus other things, we're going to keep you abreast of the situation, which I hope we'll be able to give some more concrete information soon because it is so exciting. I am just over the moon right now. So I will yield back until we get to talk about that 5,500 some more.
Signs and, Tricia's gonna be reading. Okay, do you wanna say something just for a second?
Yeah, I know I'm not speaker, so I just want to introduce myself. My name is Tricia Dare. I'm running for Oakland County Circuit Court. I made it through the primary. Waterford was wonderful to me, so thank you very much. I'm hoping to come back at another time and have an opportunity to talk to you more about what I hope to do, what I'm about, what I've been doing with my life so far. So, thank you.
Culture signs, I have my signs, and I'm assuming, John, you have your signs outside?
Okay, anyone who brought signs needs to go by their car, open up their trunk or the rear of their car, stand by their car. Anybody who would like yard signs, go out, collect the sign, put it in your car, and then come back in. The church will not tolerate political signs within the building. So, whoever's got their tonight in strict alphabetical order. First up, State Representative Brenda Carter.
Hello, everyone. Is the mic on? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. You can't hear me? Do we have the mic is off? Oh. It's on now. All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
Okay, now I'm going to take time to introduce to many of you because you're in precincts 1 through 13, who I am. I'm State Representative Brenda Carter. I represent precincts 14 to 21 of Waterford Township, precinct 4 of Auburn Hills, and the entire city of Pontiac. I'm in my 3rd legislative term. I'm currently the chair of Insurance and Financial Services. So when you talk about auto no fault, it usually comes, in fact, it's 100% coming to me. But I do want to talk about some of the things that are priorities of mine, and I hope that we share these common values. When we gained the Democratic trifecta last year, January 1, 2023, the Democrats in Lansing came in the House and the Senate on a mission. The first thing we thought is that we needed to repeal the right to work. I don't know if you guys know about the right to work. We repealed that. The second thing we did was and this was my baby, I ran on this one, and I took a lot of pride on it, because I'm a journeyman machine repair machinist. I worked 31 years at General Motors, and I don't feel that a person's value should be devalued, so I restored prevailing wage for union workers. Yeah. Couple of things that we went to bat for that we really wanted to do is make sure we keep the government's hands off our seniors' pensions. So we got rid of that law. Okay. Another thing we did was the earned income tax credit. We restored that. Make sure the families have a living wage. The two laws that I felt most passionate about, a lot of people didn't understand it, is no government agencies should choose who we choose to love. So we made sure we put that in law, that we have the right to love whoever we want to.
Yeah.
It's ladies' night and the feeling's right. Don't touch my money! We made sure we codified that, so what they did in Washington with Roe v. Wade is not gonna happen in Michigan. All right. Another thing that's very important to me, and I remember waking up in the morning, looking at MSNBC, because I don't watch the other channel. Sorry. Okay? But when you shoot 19 kids, innocent kids, and 2 teachers, because you have access to guns illegally, or legally, because the law states you can have an AR-15 assault weapon and go into a school and shoot up kids like they did in Parkland, or what they did in Sandy Hook. Well, the law that I passed was universal background checks to make sure that anybody that gets a weapon is qualified to get it. That's one of the things we did. We also passed the law on extreme risk protection orders to make sure we mitigate or stop some of the gun violence that we have in our homes. And then safe storage to make sure that we have safety locks. I mean, this is common sense. It's just common sense. Never have we said we're taking away anybody's Second Amendment right. I am a gun owner, but I do not have the desire to go to a school and shoot up a bunch of 6th graders. Okay? This is the things that the Democrats put in place amongst many other things. We want to make sure that everybody has good paying jobs. Okay? We want to make sure that seniors, and I don't know how many of you young people in here are seniors, but I'm one. And I shouldn't have to choose between my medication and my food. But you'd be surprised how many of us do, because prescription drug costs are so high. And if you're diabetic, like so many people in this state, insulin is so high. So we want to cap insulin just like they did with the federal. And I'm working right now, because I'm on the health policy committee and I'm over health insurance, to make sure we lower the cost of prescription drugs. All right? Anybody in here use prescription drugs other than me? Wouldn't you like to see that cost go down?
Yes.
Wouldn't you like to see your auto insurance go down?
Yeah.
Okay? This is the things that we're working on in Lansing. But let me tell you something, and I'm a union. I'm UAW Local 653, so I'm really hardcore union. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters in this room. If we fail to return back in the majority, everything we work for will be wiped out. Like pre-K, free lunch to our children that need it the most. Free health care for our young people. Free college for community college. These are some of the democratic priorities that we have that have been out of our reach for 40 years. 40 years that we have not had control of the House, the Senate. We had governor's office, but we never had a trifecta. We have a trifecta now, and we need to keep it. So I think I've given you, another thing of mine that I want you to know. I have a strong education background. I was the president of the Pontiac School District Board of Education. I hold a master's degree in public administration. But the big thing about Pontiac School District, when I was on the Board of Education there, they had the largest per pupil debt in the history of the state of Michigan. Last year, we wiped completely out their debt. They are debt-free. Now they can educate their children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody that knows me, and I said this at the township meeting, I protect families, I protect children. I didn't expound on this, but I had one son, just one, rambunctious, wanted to be in the service. I didn't want him to go because I heard all the stories about being in the service. But he made me so proud. He was in the Army. He was in the Army. But he came home with something called post-traumatic stress disorder. And unfortunately, in 2019, we lost him. Okay? I am a very strong supporter of our veterans. Thank you for your service. Yeah. Lastly, I'm going to talk about this before I open the Q&A, and please, precincts 1 through 13, ask me any question you want to. If I don't have the answer, I guarantee you I will get it for you. In Pontiac, and I don't know about Waterford, but in Pontiac, we have a lot of poverty and a lot of homelessness. 2 years ago, a mom and 2 babies froze to death in the fields. Last year, a man froze to death. Don't know where he froze to death, but does it matter? We have to eradicate poverty statewide, nationwide actually. When we went up to Traverse City, there was a tent community in Traverse City. Don't think it's just in Pontiac. I don't know if they have a lot of homelessness in Waterford. But all that is poverty, where you can't afford to feed your families. And you have to choose because housing is a shortage. And you're living in a tent somewhere or under a bridge with children. There are 2,000 designated children in Oakland County that are classified as homeless, and Oakland County is one of the richest counties in America. So I founded and chair the Poverty and Homelessness Caucus in the state of Michigan. And our goal is to eradicate poverty and homelessness in this state, and the models that I'm using is being replicated nationwide. So that's a little bit of who I am. I'm married to three-term city councilman for the city of Pontiac, Randy Carter. There, he was city council for District 4, city of Pontiac. So for a long time, we reigned terror on government, saying, "Hey, you got to take care of the people." You know, the Shy-Lights made a song. How many people know who the Shy-Lights are? Okay, come on, tell your age. Nobody? They made a song. For God's sake, we got to give more power to the people. And that's what this is about. Whenever the government takes over your life and tells you that you can't love who you want to, you can't live where you want to, well, you can't choose what you want to do with your body, we got a problem. But you know what? We have the power. We have the power to change that, whether it's in my generation, Robin's generation, Jonathan's generation. We can do this, but we have to do it together. Black, white, young, old, rich, poor, we are all Democrats. And that's what we stand for. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Robin?
What is that?
That is your vote total for Waterford.
Oh, that's not bad. Anyway. Oh, did I mention that Jonathan is also my chief of staff? He has been with me for 6 years, and now it's time for him to fly on off, and he's done all the things he's learned. He is now ready to implement that for his generation. So there it is. But anyway, Rob, what's your question?
Can precincts 1 through 13 put your sign up? Yes, they can.
Legally, there's nothing stopping them.
Notice how I defer to,
Yes.
It would be perfectly fine if you wanted to.
and you know what, that's a good thing to do. So if you guys want to let people know, because you do have you have a representative.
No, we don't.
Yeah. Anyway, you have a Democratic representative, and anytime that you need to get anything answered, now I have to go through the protocol if it involves anything that Representative Harris, he needs to know. But he's not, to my knowledge, he's not going to help me. I will, okay? And I'm right next door to him. Jan.
Okay, on your wish list, when you get reelected, I say when, not if. When you get reelected, what's on your wish list, what you would like to accomplish, one item in the next term?
Fix auto no fault. Number one. Our automotive rates are way too high. But you need to understand how this works, okay? Because you will hear people out there advocating one side or the other. Nobody in Lansing is doing this work for free. Whether you are an insurance industry or whether you are a provider, all of these people are getting paid. So when I did my research and I said, well, how are they getting paid? I found out. Because if they raise auto rate premiums to take care of a small group of people, that cost is spread across the board to everybody that owns a vehicle. So I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you. Can you afford an extra $300 a year on your auto insurance rate? That's what would happen.
I'm not Social Security.
See, fixed income. Can anybody in here afford an extra $300 a month, a year on their auto insurance? I know I can't. My rates are already too high. I live in Pontiac. So that's what we're working with, and Jan, that's what I want to fix. We're very, very close, but we have to get the sides that are opposing each other to sit back and say, I'm willing to give a little bit if you're willing to give a little bit. Right now, I want it all or nothing, because that's the way it's been for 40 years. Now we have an opportunity to change.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Especially you people in precincts 1 to 13, come on now, this is a good day. Come on, Elizabeth.
Could you tell us a little bit about the $500,000 you got from Waterford, just in case everybody doesn't know?
Okay, and thank you for that. Because I am a bistro babe. I don't know if you guys go to the Waterford Senior Center, but it's this group of wonderful ladies that sit there every doggone day and eat, and I just love them. They kind of remind me of the Golden Girls. Not anybody know about the Golden Girls, okay? Well, anyway, they were telling me that the Senior Center was going to be moved, or they weren't going to be able to take care of it, and the seniors were very afraid that they were going to lose their place, that they come and they talk and they eat and they fellowship. So I went to the Speaker of the House and I said, look, I got to get some money that helps sustain this senior center. So the Speaker of the House, Speaker Joe Tate, I'll call his name so you know, phenomenal man, gave me $500,000 through the appropriation, not the grant process. There is a difference. Okay, through the appropriation process to get $500,000 to keep the senior center in place. Okay, what every Democrat in this room need to know is that that budget, when that vote came up to keep that senior center, not one Republican voted for it, including the one in House District 52. Okay?
Mike Harris, by the way.
So that's how that happened. Right now, $500,000 is earmarked for keeping the senior citizens center in place. And that's because of the Democrats in the House of Representatives and the Democrat in the Senate, and one of the greatest governors of all time, Gretchen Whitmer.
Thank you, Brenda Carter. As usual, you're outstanding. All right, next up in pure alphabetical order, Mary Creighton, candidate for Waterford Supervisor.
Minutes. You've never heard a teacher talk fast, have you? I learned from the best. My favorite American history teacher, Gus, right there. That was 8th grade American history. Give it up for all the social studies teachers. Brenda, thank you. It was a privilege to be at the board meeting the other night when you presented that check for $500,000 and watching Gary Wall try to say, oh, that's a grant we got. No, it wasn't. That was because of Brenda Carter. So thank you, Brenda. This may sound odd, but I believe working across party lines is important, and I want to give a shout out to Darla Jerez, who had the courage to run against Anthony Bartolotta, who came to our celebration event and said, I did so horribly, Mary. I said, you didn't. You brought in 1,450 votes. 1,450 Waterford voters do not want Anthony Bartolotta to win. That's it. She has now offered to bring her votes to us. She told Robin and I she will be working to help our campaigns. Wow. To me, that's huge. We can make a difference together. So my slogan is ACT for Waterford residents. 3 key words for ACT: accountability, communication, and transparency. I told Gary Wall that as the township supervisor, he had to answer to all of us. He said, well, you voted for me. I didn't vote for you. But you're making decisions that are impacting my everyday life. He gets to decide, which will now be she gets to decide, who will be on the planning board and the zoning board. No offense, but they're all old white men except for one woman on each board. They don't represent the Waterford citizens. They do not represent them, but when I'm in, Sam James will be on there. We will make sure.
Don't call him Sam Harris.
We will make sure that we have people on those boards that represent the Waterford citizens. When I look at the garbage mess that we are in, our contract is expiring in March. I'm afraid if they make that decision before the election, we're going to be in trouble. They put an ordinance in place for a single hauler because that was the only way they could guarantee that it would then be able to take anybody who didn't pay and put it on their tax bill. They said it wasn't going to happen, but I have a few friends to prove a point contacted the county and said, I'm not paying my garbage bill, I'm not using the services, but let me know when it gets to that point. They put it on his tax bill. They could take your house if you don't pay your garbage bill. That service ends March 16th? 18th. Oh, 18th? Okay. In the paperwork it said March 16th. March 18th of 2025. We have a company that came in and destroyed wetlands, broke the rules, and then the planning commission allowed them, at Anthony Bartolotta's, I'll make a motion to let them back in. They have silica dust on a daily basis with cement crushing right outside our high school. Right outside the high school. Right outside the subdivision where my granddaughters live. That silica dust could kill any one of us. If you have asthma, silica dust is a horrendous problem. But they let, even though we brought 100 people to the meeting who spoke against it, and there were 80 letters, and they still voted to let him open back up. We're not going to stop fighting against that. I know Robin's contacted the health department. Then I look at what they did with ESSER money. On the last amount of ESSER money, they had $3 million available to spend. And because Gary Wall's good friend, Sue Camilleri, who used to be very involved in Waterford, she's in charge of the Greenway Advisory Committee. So they gave her $2 million, but then gave Parks and Rec $1 million, and then had to turn around and ask us for a millage to support Parks and Rec. The Greensway, which is important, the Riverwalk, but the Riverwalk is one area of Waterford. The Parks and Rec is all over the township. Why did he make that decision? Oh, he says, because I'm the supervisor and I get that power. It's time that we start listening to the citizens, community forums for any decisions that are being made. For communication, not everybody in Waterford has the internet. I know that because as a teacher in the school district during COVID, we had to provide hotspots for a lot of our kids. So they're counting on Facebook to tell you, your garbage service is going to be late. You don't have recycling. Please contact this number. There's been no letter to the Waterford citizens telling them who to call, what to do. The only way you're getting your information is if you can figure out how to navigate that website, which is out of control. Or if you're on Facebook listening to the keyboard warriors who will tell you everything you need to know and then some. So we need to update that website. We need to have, like the school district does, a transparency link where every union contract is on there, the budget is on there, which, by the way, they're getting ready to do the preliminary budget, and we never seem to have the forum for the community that you're required to have. School district does it. John Paul, you know. School district has it every June. Township hasn't done it in years. I haven't been able to go and listen to a presentation of the budget. That's going to change. When you talk about transparency, how was the decision made for the community center? Because a year and a half ago when Robin and I sat at the work study sessions and at the board meetings, Kim Markey told us, oh, we need to have a community forum. We need to give them all the options. Are we going to put it at the existing CAI? Are we going to put it where we put it a few years ago when the bond didn't pass? Are we going to look at OCC? Nah, forget it. We're just going to buy the OCC property. Forget working with Oakland County Parks, which could have purchased the whole 150 acres and protected all of those lands that are there. Instead, the township said, nope, but now we're going to make it contingent on the bond, which, by the way, I brought a piece of paper that has the current bond wording on it, so it's there for you. That is what's on the unofficial ballot proposal. It's going to cost you money. Here's the problem with that. They didn't talk to us, so they just put in there. There's possibility we're going to tear down 2 of the 4 buildings at a cost of $1 million a piece. Why tear it down? Because you know what I want to do when I'm the supervisor? I'm going to Brenda Carter and Haley Stevens, and I want one of those buildings turned into a skilled trade center. Yeah. I want the other building turned into a mental health facility for any kid or family that's struggling. I'm tired of sitting around watching my students who are in crisis. They're ready to take their own life. They have to go sit in an ER and wait for sometimes 72 hours to try to get help. Let's work with a hospital. Let's get a center there that will take care of our kids and families. So I think listening to the people in Waterford is really important. How about the decisions made about the senior center? And oh, by the way, in their little cute little purchase agreement that they decided to get their nice little line in, that they're now in charge. So once they bought this from the school district, they now get to decide. You know what their first order of business is? They want adult encore gone. Did you know that, Brenda? It's too much of a liability for the township. Why? The district's run it for all these years, huh?
Because it's somehow medical.
Because it's somehow medical. Talk to Erin. It's not medical. What? The adult encore program is not medical, but the township has decided they don't want it. They want to give it off. So they made sure to put language in their purchase agreement that said they could do third-party outsourcing of the jobs and the programs. I will never, as a 39-year member of the MEA, I will never outsource any jobs in the township. I will stand up and make sure that any union workers in the township have a prevailing wage. They should not be working for less than a living wage. 15 minutes. So the other part is, why is the township website, under transparency, why is the township website so difficult to navigate? I've been told you can find anything you need. I have not yet to find a police or fire contract. I could not find Gary Wall's salary. I had to keep digging every other place. All of that needs to be on a transparency link where anybody in the township has access to the budget, to anything that's happening in the township. So I would love your vote in November. I kicked his butt. I was so thrilled. 1,200 votes more than the guy with the money. Here's the kicker. You know where his money's coming from? Ari Leibowitz. Just like Ari Leibowitz gave Gary Wall, his family gave him over $3,000. Because Ari Leibowitz is the guy that owns the Summit Place Mall property. Oh, yeah. So they have, behind them, they have the developers in the township. I don't want any more land overdeveloped. They destroyed all those acres of land at Williams Lake and Hatchery. Destroyed it. They don't even care about the lands at OCC. We have to, and I will continue to fight with all the people, not destroying wetlands, putting in more and more apartment units. The zoning board, just because a subdivision or a apartment complex could put in 80 units behind the Ford dealership, but they wanted a zoning ordinance. And of course, our zoning board went, okay, put in 120 units. Right on the backing up to the wetlands. Oh, and by the way, because the wetlands hit Hospital Road, you cannot have an entrance or exit onto Hospital Road. That now means for 120 apartment units, you're going to have all of those vehicles coming out on Pontiac Lake Road. And if any of you have driven the curbs on Pontiac Lake Road, you know it's a nightmare. Together, we can make a difference for Waterford. So I'm here to stand up for all the Waterford citizens. Thank you, Mary Creighton, Township Supervisor. There's my numbers. Yay! Go girl. All right, okay. Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions? Questions for Mayor? Yeah.
Can you talk about the government, talk about priority waste?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Why are you making a place about that?
and that's what we want you to do, because they said, the township told us at the meeting on Monday night, Robin and I have been going to every meeting for 1.5 years. We go to the work study session, which is where all the good stuff happens. And then we go to the board meeting, and then we go to the board meeting. So they want people to turn it in on the website because they're keeping track. Blow up their phones, because now they had to go ahead and use more services to help them take phone calls. And by the way, use your tax dollars to hire Green's Landscaping to pick up all the yard waste. And I'm really curious, where was the bid for that? Because you can't just hire your friends.
And he did.
And he did. But we somehow have an emergency slush fund that they just used that money to pay Green's Landscaping.
I have a feeling that emergency slush fund is used for all kinds of things.
It is. Thank you very much.
Mary,
Brenda.
thank you very, very much.
Okay, I just have an overall question, someone asked this question. Your opponent, did he actually chair another party's?
He did. Anthony Bartolotta, when my father was a Democrat, which thanks to Fox News, he doesn't listen to me anymore. Anthony Bartolotta was actually the chair of the Democratic Club. But when he couldn't get elected in Waterford as a Democrat, he switched parties.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. I think Anthony Bartolotta wants the paycheck and the title. The question is whether or not he actually wants to do any work.
Which is why Gary Wall is running for trustee because he knows that Bartolotta can't do the work without him. So if Gary Wall gets in, that's even worse because he's going to be in control of every decision made in this township.
And Tony is too stupid to realize he's gonna go to jail and Gary won't.
Oh, I don't know. I think maybe we can arrange something a little bit different. We'll do our best to take good notes. All right, last up, candidate for Waterford's clerk, the Creighton and Noble job in Wertheimer.
So coming here tonight, I kept thinking, you know, what is there to say? And I figured out there were 3 different ways to go about this, because I knew we would have our great state representative talking about the $500,000 for the Waterford Senior Center, the $200,000 to $300,000 to reduce crime and violence right here in Waterford, and the $1.2 to $1.7 million that's coming for mental health. I knew we'd have Mary Crate up here talking about the lovely garbage situation and how we need to take out the trash in Waterford Township.
And also the walking trash too.
I'm just saying it's time to take out the trash of the township. I don't know, interpret as you will. She'd be talking about transparency in our lovely website, which is made from the days of cavemen and when the wheel was invented.
When COBOL was still the language of the computer.
When the floppy disk was around. So I was thinking, you know, I'm going to go at it from the election side, running for clerk, and talk a little bit about the numbers, because folks, it's unbelievable. And you've been seeing me typing this entire time because I was doing some of my calculations literally right up until a minute ago, because it's so close. I can't emphasize it enough. I knew it was going to go one of 3 ways. It was either going to be a really good conversation. I'd be like, we're all set. And I'm like, that one, you know, that's kind of the pie in the sky. The one I was kind of thinking it might be was, we have a lot of work to do, and it's going to, you know, we're going to get there. We hit the middle ground of the coin flip that is Waterford. The coin landed on its own edge. So I can't tell you which way this is going to go. So I've been running the numbers. If we take it as Crate versus Bartolotta versus Jarros, Mary gets 48.94% of the vote. Tony got 39.01. Here's the really fun number, because we have that ace in the hole with Darla helping us out. If we get Darla's voters over on our side, Mary would have ended up with 60.99% of the vote. For our state representative, she ended up with 55.65% to her opponent at 44.35%. 11 points.
Jonathan, is that Waterford only, right?
That's the Waterford portion. If you add in Pontiac, you trounced it 3-1. It's like they look at Waterford and go, we might be able to win. And then you get Pontiac in there and it's like, no, you don't. No, you're not. Now, my race was the one that really frustrated me, because it was a 22 vote difference. Or 20 vote. 22. So I got 49.9% and my opponent got 50.01. Folks, we're so close. Couple things to consider. One, it's a primary. So our vote total for Waterford, I know I was expecting it to quintuple, was the initial number I was thinking, about 25,000. Well, actually, 50,000 was the, quintuple, times 5. So we got about 10,000, 11,000 votes in the primary, probably about 50,000 in the general. We have a lot of work to do. We have to make sure that we don't step off the gas, because we are right at 50%. We need 50.01. So we're very close. I say that to say we're very close. That's where we need to make sure we are still knocking on doors. We are still making phone calls, still sending text messages, still donating if we're able. Anything we can do to talk to our friends and neighbors gets our slate of candidates that much closer to the finish line. And we are so close right now. We're at 50% across the board, from supervisor to me. Our trustees are a lot of math, so I didn't quite do them, but we had 3 out of 4 of them do better than Gary Wall.
I beat Gary Wall.
It's divided by like 9 candidates on their side and 5 on ours, so the math is it's intense, but I will get there. So folks, we are so close. I can't say it enough, I can't stress it enough. We can't let up now. Do we want this township to be controlled by the Republicans for another 4 years? No! Then we need to do everything we can over the next 3 months to get the Democrats where we need to be so that come November 6th, we are all getting ready to get sworn into office.
Yes.
We are revamping our pit bull ban, we're revamping our garbage, revamping our transparency, revamping everything in this township.
Fixing the damn senior center snappers.
And we want to make sure that we send Rep. Carter back to Lansing. That we send her colleagues back with her to Lansing. And that we talk to our friends in Auburn Hills and Rochester Hills so that Democratic majority in the State House has an expansion so we can do even more. But it all starts right here. It all starts right here in meetings like this, friends like us, talking to our neighbors across Waterford Township, across the neighborhoods around us, to do everything we can. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Now, we're gonna have to make a nomination of the people that made it through the primary, and as a club, we're going to ask, it's going to be as a block. Mary Creighton for supervisor, Jonathan for clerk, myself, John Paul, Joe Williams, Matt for trustees, and Elizabeth McGregor for school board. Is there a motion?
We have to have a member of the actual club make the motion to nominate. Okay. Does anyone who's a current member of the club stick up their
Steve's
hand?
already taken care of us.
Okay.
I would like to make, I would like to make a motion.
You're already good.
We're good?
Behind you.
No.
We're already, you're already good.
Okay, no, I was just saying, can I nominate it?
Yes, you can. You're a member. Yes, you can.
Let's hear you do it.
Okay.
Mary, I don't know that we can.
Because you're on the slate, you should not make the motion.
Marge, honey, make a motion.
I'll make one.
Okay, good.
I was gonna say,
Go, you are already good, but do you want to second?
Yes.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay. Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
wait, any discussion? No discussion?
Elect Democrats.
Okay. Yes.
State and national candidate, Haley Stevens, I haven't heard of her.
Haley Stevens, yourself, and Kristen Nelson, and Chris Summers have already been nominated by the OCDP board for this piece.
Okay.
And we have not talked about the slate all the way down yet. So, okay.
All in favor?
All members say aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
There's a birthday cake and bring us out. Let's sing happy birthday to him, and somebody cut the cake. Thank you today. It's a great meeting. We had a lot of information that went out. We made a lot of decisions. There's still more to come. It's going to be, and when we do this slate card, it will be divided amongst every person the same amount for each one, except for Kristen Nelson, she doesn't have the same amount of people. So, oh my gosh. Happy birthday.
I am 26.
Wow.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Joanne!
birthday, dear Jonathan. Happy birthday to you.
So is there anything for good and welfare? Does anybody have anything to share?
Elizabeth, is it public?
What's public?
Congratulations.
What's public? What's public, Elizabeth?
So, sorry, Brenda. So I am running for Waterford School Board.
Yeah.
And she got her first endorsement today from whom?
The MEA endorsed me.
I just want to make a quick comment. Actually, it's a plea, okay? Please, whatever you can do to help this wonderful slate that we just endorsed here tonight to get across that finish line, start today, and let's see all winners November 6th, okay? Thank you.
And one last announcement. Thanks to Mary Watkins. Mr. Wall is going to be at the rec center off of Williams Lake Road talking about what he did to get this grant on the 21st.
Which isn't a grant.
Thank you. That's why I called it a grant.
Appropriations.
And he's telling everybody he was responsible for getting the grant.
Oh, and when you left, they complained that it wasn't $750,000.
Yes, he did. Immensely. So we're going to get the police chief. Yes, he should have. Could have asked for an appropriations line.
Maybe you wait on Harris.
He could be. But Scott Underwood.
I've seen you soon. Bye.
So we need to protest?
Scott Underwood, the fire chief, and Gary Wall are all going to be there. It doesn't have a time.
No, it's
But
Gary Wall.
On the 21st, it's just Gary Wall.
on the 21st,
You have to call and let them know you're coming.
so I can give you the number if anybody's interested. The more people we have there to squish his dreams of what he's doing for Waterford, because he keeps telling them all the things that he's doing, when in actuality, he won't even tell us what he's doing.
You all know how uncomfortable Republicans get when they're faced with reality. You know? Just get in his face.
So thank you, have some cake, and I think that's it for tonight.
Where is it?
It's going to be at the CAI.
The rec center on Williams Lake Road.
But you have to call the township and tell them you're going to be there on the 21st.
You guys have first?
Right.
What time is it?
It doesn't have a time.
10 a.m.
Doesn't have, where's the time? Right there. Oh,
Same day when you mean on,
nope, we're doing that at 1 o'clock, 1 to 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can there.
Yeah,
Yep,
they're talking loud.
First of all, we're in Denver Park.
yes.
Are we adjourning?
I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
And then, if you adjourn,